presentation of what I called the Bardstown Kroger example, which kind of got a little bit cut off in the other um, the other audios on Kant for this class. So let me try to explain the so-called Kroger Bardstown example. Remember that the fundamental moral principle, according to Kant, is that one should only act on those maxims which a person could conceivably will to become universal law for all rational beings. Okay, so again, a maxim is a rule that a person adopts to guide their behavior. And Kant is claiming that morality, to act morally, is essentially to act in the most rational way possible, regardless of our desires, regardless of our needs, wants, particular subjectivities that we have. We are rational creatures, and we have the ability to obey reason itself. Now, what does it mean to obey reason? Well, Kant argues that that's what the universalizability principle is there for. It describes what it means for a person to act purely rationally. I'm only going to act on those rules which I could imagine all rational creatures acting on without any contradiction or without any sort of irrationality um, occurring if everybody were to do that, right? Okay, so the example of the Bardstown Kroger situation is meant, it may sound like a joke, it may sound like we're poking fun at Kant's theory, but the point of the example is to show that if Kant was correct, if Kant were correct, if this really was the fundamental moral principle, it's going to actually make a lot of behavior immoral, even though everybody knows intuitively that such behavior is innocuous. Such behavior it's not harming anybody, it's not wrong. It may be weird or absurd or strange, but it's not necessarily immoral. So the Kroger Bardstown example goes like this. Imagine you have a person who every day at the same exact time, every day at 3 o'clock, this person goes to the Kroger's on Bardstown Road. Now, if you live in Louisville, you know where Bardstown Road is, and there's a Kroger on Bardstown Road not far from Bellarmine University. And so imagine that you have some day. They have some kind of nutty, crazy, strange behavior that this is what they do, and it's not hurting anybody, and there's really nothing wrong with it. It would seem, okay? So now by Kant's theory, it's going to turn out that that's immoral. Why? Because here you have a person who's acting on a maxim, because every time we act on the basis of some maxim, according to Kant. The maxim in this case is whenever it's 3 o'clock, I go to the Kroger's on Bardstown Road. Whenever that's my maxim, under such and such a circumstance, every day at 3 o'clock, I get myself into my car and I go over to the Kroger's on Bardstown Road and I spend some amount of time there. Okay, that's my maxim. That's what I'm acting on. Now, according to Kant, I should ask myself, is it rational for me to do that? And on the basis of the universalizability principle, you have to ask whether your maxim could be something that all rational beings could act on all the time, essentially, right? So you have to imagine, well, what if everybody in the world or everybody in Kentucky were to go to the exact same Kroger's on Bardstown Road at the exact same time? There would be a traffic jam. You wouldn't be able to get to the Kroger's. The checkers themselves wouldn't be checking because they would be coming to Kroger's to shop. So everyone would have to use the electronic checkout, I guess. Okay, but still, you see that's just a nutty, absurd situation. I can only go to Kroger's at the same time every day if not everybody else does exactly that same thing, right? There are many things that we can do only because not everybody is doing them, essentially. All right. So I think, another example was what I called the weird hat example. I believe that example was clearly expressed in some of the in the audio lectures on Kant. But the point of the Bardstown Kroger example again is to show that innocuous but nutty behavior would be ruled out by the fundamental principle. And this seems to show, I mean, probably Kant has some kind of answer to this, but on the face of things, it seems to show that Kant's principle is too strong. It rules out too much. It forbids us from doing nutty things when really those nutty things shouldn't be morally forbidden. All right. And maybe the deeper point is that way of stating the criticism is that Kant is trying to say that morality is based on rationality alone. And what this example shows is that, well, if the universalizability principle is the principle, that's going to rule out a lot of behavior, not just what we would think is immoral behavior. I hope that was clear. Thank you.